jumping into our discussion today. I was myself also surprised, or I could say also amazed by the fact that there's much more to Mastercard than the eyes can see. And we'll do just that at the beginning with the help of Laura, doing for us the overview of what Mastercard actually is all about. It's deep tech side of the business. And yet again, taking the example of Mastercard, so we're just a quick summary. Laura, we're halfway through the program, as you well know. There has been Q&As like these with either program partners. We recently had the one with Brede, Societe Generale, NN, Google, and all the other, some of the other partners, but as well as Q&As with investors or product experts. We recently had the chance to talk with Carlos Espinal again from Seedcamp, or Nopadon Okpagdi, that was involved in 500 startup, and now it's running their own. They're running with Matt Lerner their own accelerator for startups. Speaking about what actually founders should do to increase the stickiness and push on the growth levers of their products. So here we are, at the beginning of the month, in a month where we're ending with the final phase of Spotlight, which is the investment pitch for the investment deal. And talking yet again with you about what are the resources of big companies such as Mastercard, and how can startups take advantage of them. Would you mind to do a quick intro about yourself in a way, in the fashion that you want it, and then we can do with the founders as well.
Yeah. So first of all, hello everyone. I'm happy to be in this Q&A. I have to admit it's I think funny to say it's my first such type of event, so or
today.
meetup, or yeah, no, but actually, and I'm really happy to be here, and I'm very curious to see how the whole conversation is going to happen. My name is Laura Stefan. I am with Mastercard Romania for 5 years now, and my official job title is Director of non-commercial and non-traditional business development, which sounds very fancy, but I will break it down to you later on as to what exactly is. The point is that from my role, I have the mission to take care of everything that Mastercard is doing locally in Romania in regards to fintech and to any, let's say, non-traditional business that comes towards Mastercard's way. Normally, I team up with my colleague Mihai, but as you heard that previous today he wasn't well, but probably we can arrange a follow-up to this discussion, so you guys can also have
and one-on-ones, including you still have slots for one-on-one meetings.
And for the two of us, for myself and Mihai, it's actually the second time we are doing the Startup Spotlight. Last year we did it as well. We liked it so much, so we felt like we've learned so much out of it. And we are here again this year. Indeed, we also brought the BRD as a partner because it's one of our biggest customers in Romania, and we felt that they could also contribute to it. And today we're going to do like a couple of things. First of all, as Alexandru was saying, I'm going to give you like a crash course into what Mastercard is, in case you guys don't have the full view of it. And then you can shoot any question you feel that you have. So that's all the introduction I'm capable of for now.
Should we do a quick round robin, as we're still a small group increasing throughout the discussion, so you know also who's already in here. A couple of others are still in the waiting room. Most likely it's going to be a discussion such as we are having these Q&As with 10 to 15 founders, but we can take 5 minutes or so, 1 minute per each one of you that's present in the call already, so you know each other even better and would give more context to the following discussion. Rafal, could you take over, say a few words about you, a few words about Solo, and pass on the popcorn challenge to anyone else, and then leave Laura to dive us into what Mastercard actually is doing, other than seeing their logos on all or most of the debit credit cards. Yeah, take over.
Beautiful logo for that matter. So.
yeah.
Okay, so as Alexander introduced me, I'm Rafał. I'm the CEO of Heavy Kinematic Machines. We are developing such a solution, Solo Workout. Solo Workout is a cloud-based data collection system, and it consisting of sensors that you can integrate with gym equipment and applications. So with our solution, you can make from every regular gym equipment a smart connected machine. So you just install the sensors we developed to the machines, and using our application, you can log into the machines and get all the data. So you know automatically how high you are lifting the stack, the weight of the stack, sets, reps, all dynamics, timing, and so on. And we've got application for users, for trainers, and for clubs. So that's easy one, I think. So that's what I'm doing. And I think the next, Oleg.
Roll the ball. Oh, to Oleg, okay.
Continue. Hi everyone, I'm Oleg. I'm a founder of Drafter AI, and we work on Stripe for AI/ML technologies. We enable product teams to create, test, use, and integrate the AI/ML workflows in hours instead of months. That's possible because of our orchestration engine, so everyone can set up blocks, connect own data, and reach it with third-party data, process it with multiple machine learning models such as classification, speech recognition, speech generation, image recognition at once, and output the data inside our web application or connected to inner products, BI reporting tools, or something like that, or represented to hundreds of thousands of end users. So that's actually what we do. Our purpose is to make AI/ML as easy as possible for people not involved in machine learning engineering.
Please do that.
Yeah,
I feel
agreed.
I'm one of them. Cool. Could you pass on the ball to someone else from the call?
Dimitri, may I ask?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that too. Yeah, my name is Dimitri. I'm CEO of the groups. What we do in the groups, we try to connect all the stakeholders of the travel industry for group traveling. Individual traveling is what we already know is like individuals that go from one place to another. And there's a lot of platforms in the market like Booking.com, Trivago, Expedia, etc. The group industry is an industry that we need to make contracts. It's B2B, it's on request. And just to create one group, you need to have contacts in another place, call them, send a mail, make contracts, and it goes like weeks to create it, and 600 to 800 meals, a normal group just for the flow. What we do as a platform, we created a marketplace that we can find each other instead of traveling to an expo, and a back office system that interconnects everybody. So in order to create a group, what used to take you 2 or 3 weeks, it takes you 2 to 3 hours. And 600 to 800 meals, we make them disappear, and we have the same back office that will work. What we call in the tourism industry is a communication chain. Simple example, a client goes to a travel agent. The travel agent needs to communicate to the tour operator. The tour operator needs to communicate to the local partner that he has in this place that they're going to travel. Buses, restaurants, etc. What we do, we give you a system that whoever puts the information, he will have it, and who needs to have this information will have it. So no more mails.
think we're losing you a bit,
Yeah.
Dmitry.
Losing you. But anyway, I got the
Where
point.
did you lost me, Sai?
Seconds ago.
No worries, it's fine.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Could you say a last phrase again?
I
So
was saying
to sum
that
up. Mhm.
what we really achieving is, first of all, you can create groups in seconds instead of weeks.
Mhm.
Second thing, you have a back office system. Whoever puts in information, the others will have it. So bus company puts who's going to be the driver will have automatically all the information and the contents of who needs to have it. And who needs to have this information will have it automatically. So you don't need to send mails right and left. So everything you need to find in hundreds of mails and send, now you have it on a platform, which will take you maximum 3 clicks in order to have all the information from all partners and providers for one single group. So it's a B2B marketplace back office system that connects all the stakeholders of tourism industry.
Yep. It seems
Thanks.
that's in the and what it used to be and will be at some point soon, the hot space of
It's
the
a
industries.
game-changing
Mhm.
solution. It's a really game-changing solution.
Could you pick now somebody else from the call?
Yes, Gabi.
Gabi. Mhm.
Gabi, ești pe mute.
I just asked you to unmute from the call.
Yes.
Yeah, should be fine.
Thank you. Thank you. I couldn't find the window. Thank you. I'm Gabi Bartik. I'm the CEO of Brio. Brio is in educational testing. It's a way of standardize and automatize processes in education, in what's involved with evaluation and testing. It is Brio is a cloud-based solution, is a software as a service startup providing cloud-based solutions for testing and assessment tools in education. As we see it, Brio is changing the way of education is understood and performed in Romania, and not only. By creating automated smart schools, and the most important, Brio is the only provider of actionable data for the educational system, and the artificial intelligence tool of testing. But we'll talk about this in another meeting. So, it is Brio is what you need to know is an unique deep tech software as a service educational platform.
We're so attracted of the buzzwords. try to leave the buzzwords when you enter the calls, because here we need to actually understand what everyone is doing and how can these people help you.
Education, okay. Educational testing.
That's great. Could you pick someone else from the call to sum up what they do in hopefully not words that are so extensively used, but
don't worry, you'll find only buzzwords in my discussion. So I'm happy to have them.
This kind of try to use this kind of a safe space to actually get to know each other, get to know how can these people behind the logos, as some of you call them, can actually help, can share some insights that you're that are not so at hand for you. Alina, if you hear us, and if not, shall we switch to? Okay, you do. Now is the chance to actually remove the mask.
And you're on mute.
Yeah. For now. Could you unmute? Yeah.
Hi guys, and greetings from Web Summit.
Yeah. Say hi from us too.
Yes. So I'm gonna pitch really fast. I don't know how my Wi-Fi is going. I'm Alina. I represent Salarium. Salarium is the first solution of salary in demand in Romania. We want to make access to salary simple, easy, faster, better. And we already started doing that. We enrolled about 10 companies. We have transactions every day. The feedback is really great. We realized that we changed a bit of the behavior as well compared to what salary advances were in the past. We managed to raise salary advances to 40%. So every month they grow in a company compared to their historical image. We went to market. We try to grow the number of companies, obviously. In the meantime, we also partner up with software companies in Romania. So now we're in discussions with all 4 players to integrate with them. 2 of the integrations are ongoing. 1 is already final. So by mid the year, we hope to finalize all integrations, so we capture as much of the market as possible. Our early adopters are youngsters, are millennials, and Generation Z. They're quite happy with our solution because they can actually get paid after each day they work. So they're happy with us. Romania is not an easy country because the technology is technology savviness is different from one generation to another. But I think we're gonna have a really great year ahead of us, and we're happy to be here. And we're happy when I say here in Spotlight
Both
and
ways.
here in the Web Summit as well. Yes, exactly. Here physically and here in the program. You're never short on knowledge. You're never short on open to new ideas and feedback and growth. So we're ever hungry in this area. And I'll pass the ball. I don't know who didn't talk out of the participants. I've seen some new ones got into the group.
I do see with their cameras on Kenneth, maybe it's a good moment for him to take over. Rokas just showed up. Ioana, Sandro, pick one. But if it's a good moment for you, Kenneth, I know you're with the kid as well.
Since I'm in Women in Tech session, a Web Summit, I'll pick Ioana cool. To go further. And best of luck. Kisses, you guys, and we'll keep in touch.
Cheers.
Hey guys, I'm also on the way, so I'm not sure how well you hear me.
It's good enough.
Okay, so I'm Ioana, I'm the CEO of Convi, and what we do is we allow anyone to invest in alternative assets, such as luxury watches, fine wine, and maybe quick background, we just released for friends and family yesterday. So if you're up for checking out the experience, I'd be more than happy to skip you from the queue. Yeah, that's me. So I don't know exactly who went either.
You know, Ioana, that I want to be skipped from the queue. I'll let you know afterwards. I told you already in the one-on-one.
Perfect. I'll make sure there's space for you.
Thank you.
There's Kenneth I mentioned earlier. Maybe it's a good moment for him to take over. I know he's a bit under a child's.
Hey guys, hey, my name is Kenneth and I'm CEO and founder of New Credits. We are a trade finance marketplace, connects SMEs with global lenders. So in Europe, we provide purchase order finance for the e-commerce sellers in Europe. They are doing TikTok or like YouTube, and then they are doing Amazon selling in Europe, but they need to source from Asia. So we can provide the capital for them. We work with private credit funds in Europe, and pretty soon that we will be working with Coinbase for the crypto lending platform. Yeah, that's us.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Kenneth. Shall we pick Sandro?
Sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hi, Sandro, Colombian, building from Vilnius. I founded and I'm directing I Speak Up. I Speak Up, it's a mobile learning platform, very much an interactive TikTok that right now is solving the problem of learning English in a very affordable yet engaging way. We have two sides to our platform, one for teachers or for creators and another for students. And the concept is simple, a very short video that you can talk to and interact with. And if you just want to learn something new, just swipe through it. We're building in Vilnius, but we have operation on the B2C part in South America, and we are developing our operation, our B2B operation here in Europe. That's where we are.
Thanks, Sandro.
I popcorn to Rocas. I haven't heard.
Not hearing you. If you want to unmute, just.
Oh, sorry, guys. I was distracted by some neighbors here. So Charge Network. I'm Rocco, CEO of Charge Network, and we work in e-mobility space. We created a software as a service platform to operate EV charging stations. So we solve two fundamental problems in this market. Number one is how to collect automatically payments for charging service provided. So it's in a way fintech for charging stations. And problem number two that we're solving is how to dynamically load, dynamically balance the energy supply to charging stations. So there is a limited capacity of energy available in different locations, and it's a huge problem when you want to install many stations and you don't have enough of supply. So our cloud solution helps to balance the load between the stations so that you can serve more customers at the same time and distribute more energy, to distribute it more efficiently than you would without the software. So that's shortly about us.
I think there's only one person there.
Yeah, Igor from Lawyered, if you can hear us and you want to jump in, saying a few words about you and Lawyered, and then we move back to Laura.
It's okay. We can go ahead. Maybe
we'll get back to that. Yeah.
Later on. Yeah. So thank you everyone for the introductions. I have to remember some of you. I remembered from actually all of you. I remembered from the text that I saw in the first stage of the competition. So thank you so much for being here. Well, what I want to do next is actually give you like a short description of what Mastercard does globally. And the reason I'm doing that is because, you know, after a career of 10 years working in a bank, and dealing with these products on a daily basis, when I joined Mastercard 5 years ago, I realized how I didn't actually know anything about the card payments industry. And this is not to say that other people don't know, but just to give you, you know, like insight into what we actually do as a company. And I will try to share.
It should be okay to share anything.
Yeah, let me know if you see my my screen. I guess you can. Okay. So basically, who is Mastercard? And here is like, I only want to say one thing, who we are not. Basically, we are not issuing cards. We are not producing the plastic. We are not producing the chip or the technology behind it. We are actually a technology company in the global payments industry. So what we do, we want to make sure that everybody that wants to has access to a payment method which is safe, is simple, and is convenient. And when doing that, we want to make sure that the customer experience of one of our cardholders, let's call them that, is the same when paying, you know, for a subway ticket in London as it is when they pay for a water bought at a corner shop in any other country on the planet. So our goal is to basically be global and to ensure a certain level of experience to everyone using our products. But this is, I have to admit, this is very high level and full of, you know, buzzwords, the way we were saying earlier. So what do we actually do? We are a player that is regulating and defining a certain industry, which is the card payments industry. And when doing that, we define a set of rules, we define a set of technology standards, and we make sure that everybody that is entering into this network respects all of these rules and standards. On top of that, just like, you know, when you have the energy supply, which is split in half, you have first the infrastructure, and then you have the actual energy that flows to that infrastructure. In the payments area, it's pretty much the same. First, you have the infrastructure, and then you have the actual information, the actual data that flows to that infrastructure. And those are two different things. In this industry, we call them scheme and switch. So basically, I am a scheme employee. I am a Mastercard scheme employee. I am a part of the organization that defines the rules. I'm not part of the organization that actually sees the data or approves the transactions. So this is very good to know that there are, just like in any other utilities type of industries, there is this separation. Afterwards, we look at what is happening in the market, and we take care of the products themselves. And we call them core products, but you guys know them as debit, credit, prepaid, business cards, or commercial, the way we call them. And then you have all kinds of, so many additional layers of value-added services that come on top of that. And the value-added services, they are in the space of loyalty solutions that our customers might want to use, safety and security, such as, I don't know, cyber security, preventing fraud, and so on. And we come with all kinds of applications onto that. Of course, our marketing, everybody knows the beautiful logo and the promise of starting something priceless, and so on. There was a turning point into our strategy a few years ago, which has to do with the fact that we don't want to look at ourselves as cards payment scheme, but a payments in general scheme, which means that we entered into the multi-rail space, how we call it, meaning that we don't only care about the transactions that happen via cards, but also transactions that happen via automatic clearing houses. And we few years back, we bought Vocalink, which is a player administering this type of payments. And we are also so much into B2B payments. And I wanna mention that because I heard that some of you guys are into this space. So basically, we also have the Mastercard Track platform, which aims to be the holy grail of B2B payments, making a little bit of order into the whole heterogeneous space of this type of interactions between business to business. Also, more, let's say, in respect to what we are doing here today, we are also looking very closely at the whole startup fintech space. Actually, I think we are the scheme that started doing this the earliest, and that is why currently we have this statistic that says 8 out of 10 fintechs globally works directly with Mastercard. So we are happy to be in this position. We put so many resources at the fintech disposal, starting with the advisory services, the technology, and so on. But before I go into the space of what we do together with fintechs and startups, I just want to show you something which we call the 4-party model. Does anybody know what that is?
Could you say that again? The 4-party model?
The 4-party model, yes, which has to do with the card payments.
Okay, I don't.
Yeah, so that's what most surprised me when I joined Mastercard 5 years ago, to actually understand how a card transaction is happening.
I could find 2 parties, but 4.
It's actually 4, yeah. So basically, this is what it looks like. It has like 4 corners, and what it is actually you have the card holder. So when I want to go and buy water from the supermarket, I am the card holder. I am holding the card, be it physically, be it tokenized in a phone. And then there's the merchant, so the supermarket, that needs to have a terminal, a point of acceptance. So I go there and I'm asking them, please give me this water. I want to go with it. I don't have the cash with me. I want to pay with my card. So basically then the merchant taps the card on the terminal and wants to see if it's okay for me to live with that water, whether they will be getting the money for the goods handed over to me. But let's imagine that my card is from Revolut, because this is like more global, the most global player I could think of. And the POS, the terminal in the shop is actually installed by ING Bank, example, European Bank, everybody heard of it. How would ING's POS know whether I have money on my Revolut card? The answer is they don't know. So basically what they do is they send a question to the core banking system of ING, and is asking, is it okay for me, to allow Laura to live with the water? ING says, I don't know. I don't have a direct relationship with Revolut, so I'm gonna ask my scheme, because it's a Mastercard card, so I'm gonna ask Mastercard. I also don't know. I don't keep this information, but I am asking Revolut. And then Revolut is looking into my account on my card to see, first of all, whether the card is valid, if it has enough balance on it, if, for instance, the authentication method I used turned out the correct answer, meaning that I am the person that is supposed to be using that card. After doing all of these checks, they get back with an answer, so they know whether that transaction should be accepted or not, and then they send out the information first to Mastercard, then to ING, and then they display the message on the POS terminal. And only then I am allowed to leave with my goods from the merchant. And all of this communication, which is sometimes global and multiple time zones, different technology and so on, all of this communication is being done under standards that we define, and the response and the experience and the security behind it should be of a certain level. And this is things that we as Mastercard define and check. And these are prerequisites for the likes of Revolut or ING to be our licensed customers. So basically, this is our magic. This is our B2B business model. These are our direct customers, Revolut and ING, issuers and acquirers, and everything that we do has in mind, the convenience and the security of the consumer, and also the well-being of the merchant somehow, those that are actually end users of our products. I don't know if you guys had any idea about how this works. This is hopefully helpful for you for the future. But this is what I wanted to, the point I wanted to make about Mastercard's business in general. And on top of it, coming back to our discussion today, because so many of these interactions, they are changing so much lately, and that fintechs are bringing so much to the table. We as Mastercard, we define the whole platform globally for working with fintechs. And this is, let's say, the last point I will make before jumping into the actual Q&As. Because we have this global platform called Accelerate, and it has 4 main programs to it. And these programs, they are all somehow structured to follow the life cycle of a company, of a fintech, of a startup. So even before you build your company, even before actually knowing exactly what your product is going to look like, before establishing your company, we have this developers zone, meaning that we grant access to our technical resources, to sandboxes, APIs, SDKs. You guys know better than me what they actually mean. The point is that our technology is available for you to play with it and see how you can turn it into valuable products to put out in the market for the end customers. Once you know what you want to do with it, then you also need to actually go to market. And here we do 2 things. Because if you want to develop a value proposition in the payment space, the payment space is highly regulated. So it's regulated both from a local regulators' perspective, such as European Union, such as local authorities, but it's also regulated from a scheme perspective. So both us and our competitors, we have all these rules in place that you guys need to check and to make sure that you are compliant with. So instead of having you work on this for like 6 to 9 months, getting all the regulatory approvals in check and the technology behind it, what we did is actually start this FinTech Express program, meaning that we have a number of partners that already went through these checks. So they are already compliant from all points of view, and they are willing to allow you to use their technology and their resources in order to go to market with the product much faster, meaning 2 to 6 weeks based on the complexity of the value proposition you want to launch. And we have one such partner which is relevant for the Central and Eastern European part of the world, meaning for different scale of products and different requirements from a technical perspective, which is also available in Romania. And it's called Deeppocket, probably heard of them. If not, they are one of our FinTech Express type of partners that can make their resources available for anyone wanting to go to market really fast.
Could you say their name again?
Deeppocket, like DY, yeah, it's a one word. It's like a game.
Yep. Got it.
Okay, then you are live, and you might need partners to help you scale. And this is where we do the engage part of the business, meaning that we are able to connect fintechs with larger players such as banks in order to see if there are any synergies that can be used and leveraged, and if it can be helpful for both parties. And everything is everything culminates with the Start Path program, which is probably the most renowned program that Mastercard is running globally in this space, but it is tailored for scale-ups. So once the business is big enough to have a global relevance, to have, global resources available for it, then you can enroll in Start Path. It's a long program. It's a longer program. It takes like, I think, at least 6 months. It has a lot of mentoring and coaching and resources and training to it. And then you also get to meet with quite relevant global players and build global infrastructure for deployment of the value proposition. And we do this on a yearly basis. We are quite successful with this program, and we like it very much. So in a nutshell, this is everything that Mastercard is, that it does, and how it is positioned to fintechs. I will just use, one last minute to tell you that when it comes to what we as Mastercard do locally for fintechs, it's a little bit of everything that I mentioned before, in the sense that, and also a little bit more. You might have noticed we are not necessarily venture capitalists, so we don't necessarily invest in the fintechs that we work with, but at some point we might acquire them. We did that with certain suppliers for the technology that we are now putting out in the market. However, we do look at fintechs from 2 points of view: whether they can become our clients, so whether you guys can develop a value proposition that is payments related and can be integrated in what we do in our core business, or if you guys have something which can be seen as a value added service for the card holders or for the merchants. So basically, you either issue the card or accept the payment, or you come with something that enhances the experience, the payment experience on both sides. So this is how we look at things. Of course, we are keeping an open eye to everything that is happening around us. That is why we are here, today in Startup Spotlight, and not only today. So basically, this is what I had to say. Now I think we have some time for questions. So shoot.
Yeah, enough to tackle the challenges. So shall we relate to everything that has to do with payments? Because looking at the screen, I see health, I see travel, I see developer tools, I see energy, education, 2 times at least, investment and finance per se, and some other developer tools used in within services of call centers. It's now the use case for RepsMate. But shall we take any? Shall we play with this thought as how to actually get somewhere in this supply chain of the payments industry with what the founders here in the call are doing? That's one thing. And another thing, it's just blunt questions, reactions, feedback that you have and that you want to stay a while on in the next a bit less than 1 hour, but there's still enough time to do that. What would you say, Laura?
I would say that everything I've heard from all the companies that are, or all the startups that are here in the call, everything has to do with payments in one way or another.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I don't think we should necessarily, be too stressed about that. The whole point of the introduction was just for everyone in the call to get more insights into Mastercard, but we can address it.
Yeah. So there's definitely a way to look at things from this perspective. Sandro, I saw your reaction. Just turn off turn on your mics and shoot.
Yeah, good. Thank you so much, Laura, for that detailed introduction. I was wondering if maybe you can share a couple of use cases or examples on how different companies other than fintech can, or you have partnered with. Maybe if you can talk through the level of maturity, at what stages do you typically engage with startups, with this organizations? I can, top of my head, think of many different ways of working along, but I'm more interested in what are the entry points, what are the level of engagement you're looking at depending on the stage of the company.
Okay. So as I was saying, it all depends with the field. So with the actual industry that you guys are in, if you are in a payment space, it's easier for me to just explain. Because it's clear that somehow you would be using our products. So our aim, if we are discussing with a startup in the payment space, is actually to find a way for them to start using our products, to become our licensed member and so on. But if you aren't, and I would rather go with this, then we have to see what the synergies are, because there are times, when we are actually out there looking for partners to help us develop certain areas that we are interested in, but we don't want to do by ourselves. So one such example could, for instance, be, open banking. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this. Open banking means free access of any player to the financial data of a consumer, right? And this means connecting all the banks out there, at least in the European space where there's a lot of regulation, connecting them to a central hub, and then allowing this information to flow freely. We as Mastercard, we will not be connecting, directly all of these banks, so we need a vendor to do that. We went out and scouted for a vendor. This is one example. Another example is, for instance, when we want to position ourselves in the sustainability space. So we want to be able to show cardholders what their carbon footprint impact is based on their spend behavior. We don't have the know-how for that. So we went out and looked for partners. We found the guys in the economy, which is a fintech somewhere from the Nordics, if I remember correctly, and they are doing exactly that. Based on the information that we provide to them on where the card was used, they are calculating the Aland index and the actual carbon footprint. And again, that wasn't something, so those, the first example is actually we went out and looked for a company that was very early, but they just proved to us they have the technical capabilities of actually doing what we needed them to do. Then later on with the economy, I think they were already quite established, but they were only looking for a distribution channel. So we met with them, and we have now, I think, a European-wide agreement, and we are introducing them to all of our partner banks in order to be integrated into the value proposition. I can even give you a local example from Romania. Last year, I met during Startup Spotlight the guys from Start GDPR, which is actually, so it's early, very early. They were just doing, finalizing the proposition last year, and now they are our partners in the local affinity program for SMEs, meaning that all my Mastercard business card holders have access to these services under a preferred pricing that is prepared by Start GDPR. So it varies a lot. It depends on the interest, on the industry, on what exactly we are doing together. And it's very difficult to say, but I would say there is no actual rule behind that. So.
Good. Yeah, it's just that at least I can think of a couple of things. I used to do things in education around the industry of the tourism industry, more on the B2B side. I mean, the terminals or the companies where they were using Mastercard terminals, they were having issues. This is specifically in Latin America, like bringing in English-speaking customers and their entire staff. Like there's an entire challenge in the industry of, you know, having this second language to bring their users in. And also, you know, one of the reasons I choose certain brand when you know, using my credit cards when I'm traveling, how they're helping me, and traveling to another country rather than speak the language is the typical scenario that we're also solving. So I'll be, yeah, now that you have answered that, I'll be very much interested in finding some space to maybe, you know, tap into those two areas.
Sure.
Yeah. Chip in with whatever you have during the what's left of the conversation. Then I see Kenneth, you want to add something or add another topic?
Yes, actually I have a question to Laura. We actually have a payment institution company in Lithuania. So we actually doing the integration with one of the core banking providers in the country. And in the same time, you know, like we have a lot of customers right now that they, you know, they need to pay their suppliers in China because they're sourcing from Alibaba anyway. And do you have any solution for that? Because you know, like we actually also work with Union Pay in China, and the money that we send to, like, we can only send to Hong Kong, but we can't actually send to mainland China. As you know that the country is actually having very strict capital control policies.
So actually, I was gonna ask for a one-on-one with you after this because the commercial payment space is actually one of my core one of my priorities in Mastercard Romania. And so it happens I was involved in a project with a company that was doing exactly that, meaning sourcing payments to China, because it's very complicated when buying from there. So like, there's one thing if they sell on Alibaba, but other than that, there are all kinds of websites, and it's very complicated in terms of legislation because only certain companies have export licenses and so on. So basically, there is one player which originated in Australia to source for the Australia-China trade.
Air wallet.
Let's say no, they are called Octet. So they are Octet, and I tried to build something with them in Romania. We are now a little bit on a pause. We're on hold with that. However, what they did, and there's like no secret behind their model, is they have a local presence in China, and they collect card payments from the European space, for instance, as a payment institution themselves, but then they collect it on their own, and then they distribute it to China via SWIFT. Because the accepting infrastructure in China is so different than the rest of the world, so it's very complicated to have acceptance of cards even on Alibaba, because it is going to be acceptance is going to be Alipay or the China Union Pay, which it's
it's just no one needs credit card in China.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, there is a way to do it, and we also have our proprietary technology for that, which somehow even eliminates the SWIFT. But if you want, we can discuss more about this, like
that would be brilliant.
And just for you to have like a heads up, we even have a relevant platform for both Europe and US, which is called Mastercard Track.
Yeah.
And if you ask me, I think you guys would be a great partner for this platform to act as a agent for on behalf of the SMEs using your platform, right?
Yeah.
To connect them with a larger network of possible buyers and suppliers for them, globally speaking. So this is something that we should also look into.
Yes. I mean, we are actually thinking to start working on the buy now, pay later for the B2B field, because anyway, we work with a lot of lenders, and you know, it's just you know, payment and payable finance, and you know, all the stuff like adding together as a business model. So in Europe and in the US, we also have some clients in the US right now. So it would be great that we can catch up.
Yeah. Should do that.
Cool. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All my questions. Yeah.
Thanks, Kenneth. Let's circle back. Let's circle back to you guys. Any thing that you can think of? Any use case for you to actually come and discuss it with Laura, or anything else that you have curiosities on, questions, feedback, whatsoever?
Yeah, I do.
Please.
I do. Sorry. And I was just that in the spirit of this startup world, you know, how are you guys different from Visa? Like, you know, how are you managing that world stage competition?
Okay.
I'm interested in looking into the future, you know, that'll be inspiring, because, you know, you're the two titans and how you're battling that stage.
We're actually not even, so neither us nor Visa, we aren't the biggest payment schemes on the planet. The biggest one you guys might guess is actually China UnionPay. So because they have a different type of market and different leverage there. However, and there's a very good point to the question, because us and Visa, we are four-party models. So basically what I showed you earlier with licensing issuers and acquirers and having, you know, the four actual corners of the transaction, us and Visa, we are working the same, which is not the same for, let's say, American Express, diners, and so on, which is what we call a three-party model, because basically the issuer and the scheme, they are one thing. So you don't have a difference between who is issuing the card and who is managing the scheme rules. But the question is, you know, is valid, and it's a good one. Haven't heard it in a while, I have to admit. I can only answer from a local perspective, to be honest, and I can also answer from the global one. But from a local perspective, I can tell you that in countries such as Romania, where you have like half of the population financially non-included, where 80% of GDP is actually spent in cash, you don't worry that much of how to differentiate. I think both us and our competition in the payment scheme, we have a common goal, which is actually to fight cash and to bring as much cash as possible into the electronic space of the payments, be it Mastercard, be it Visa, be it ACH. So even payment orders, we are happier when they happen than to see cash transactions, which are really not bringing any benefits for the participants. We love working with everything that is new and that contributes to evolution of this field. And I'm not here to say that we are the only ones doing that. Competition is very healthy, and I'm happy that everyone is working towards the same goal somehow. It's a matter of perception. I like to think about Mastercard as being, you know, the player which is more oriented towards, I don't know, technology, innovation, bringing benefits to card holders, bringing benefits to the payments, looking into all of these new spaces, such as, you know, moving beyond cards, moving beyond just simple models and so on, adding value to all the layers. So this is how I like to see it. For sure, if you ask my colleagues, they will say the same in competition.
In short, you're crushing it.
It's a matter of perception. I'm not, no. But from a global perspective, I think the things are pretty much somehow well established. Europe is Mastercard space, so everything in Europe is more Mastercard than anything else. Asia is clearly China, Indian. US is more Visa space, so I guess there's a balance somewhere. Don't know if I answered the question.
Global distribution. So this is you pick continents at the stage.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm on the left side of the world. You're on the right side of the world. Cool. I saw you, Oleg, if you want to take over. And thanks, Sandro, for surfacing this up. Could you, yeah, cool.
Yeah. So I just wanted to ask a question about, I'm sorry. Just ask a question about data, access to data of Mastercard mentioned before. Because actually, as we are data services provider and machine learning model provider, some of our customers may find it very interesting and useful to build prediction models or scoring model on top of Mastercard data or combine Mastercard data with some kind of third-party financial data. Is it possible or is it hard to get access to that data, not only for internal use for ourselves, but to represent that the data source for our customers, for third-party businesses or products that may be something really useful and collaborate with Mastercard in that way?
Yeah, so thank you for this question. This is actually quite a sensitive topic, so to speak. Data is the highlight of so many security discussions, privacy, and so on. It is fair to say from the beginning that Mastercard does not own any data. So basically, we don't have individual data at all. We don't use it for us to build prediction or whatever. We don't give it away, but there are multiple applications that can be run on data, not sourced directly from us. Every time we have something like a value-added service that we build, which has in mind the aggregated data that comes from all the global transactions, we are building alternative data flows and data collection tools, let's say, that are compliant with whatever purpose is intended. And I will give you one example. For instance, for the larger corporates, there is this need for expensing travel spend, right? So you go for an event like, I don't know, like Alina is in Web Summit, probably Salarium is paying for the trip there. So that money needs to be expensed. And of course, we as Mastercard, we have that data, but we don't simply pull it out and send it to the card holder to use it to use it in their expense report. No, there is an alternate data transfer flow, which is called Smart Data. It's a global platform as well, but it's parallel to the authorization flow, which I showed you like in the four-party model. And the data is placed there and sent by us to the beneficiaries, not by Mastercard, but by the card issuer, so by the bank that is issuing the card. They have the responsibility of talking to the card holder, getting their agreement that it's fine for us to get that data to look at it, and sending us information about which card holder would like their data. When I hear about that, I have the technical resource, the network, the endpoint, the whatever, and then I send it where it needs to go. But I don't just, look into authorization flow, pull it out and give it for a certain application, because it's a very sensitive topic. What is happening in the authorization flow is fully anonymized. I don't look at it for any other reason than, to perform the actual transaction. But because the infrastructure is there and it is possible to look at this data and to analyze them on whatever, you can build on top of that. But you have to build for any use case specifically, and you cannot interfere with the actual authorization flow. And this is why, here is my next point, This is why in Europe, at least, you have now open banking, right? Because the actual owners of the individual data are not the schemes, so not us, not Visa, but the issuers and the acquirers. And because until now that infrastructure was closed, so basically you as a cardholder could only see what was happening on your account via your bank where your account was open. And this is, let's say, somehow a blocker of the evolution of customer experience, if you want to say, call it like that. So that's why we have the open banking regulation coming to say that any player that is getting certification for it, so basically as a private individual, you cannot just ask a bank, you know, to send you data. You have to be certified by local authorities and you have to have certain licenses in place to make sure that you comply with certain security standards, of course. But
which would be drafters' case as well. So if they want to use some sort of financial data,
you need to get licensed. The point is that this type of data is subject to being, you know, pulled out by account information service provider, payment information service provider. So it can be pulled out, but only for consumers and SMEs, because the corporate products are excluded from open banking in a way. So basically, whenever you want to build an application, it has to do with data. You have to do it for the specific use case you have in mind, and you have to do it via the regulatory framework that exists. And in Europe's case is open banking. This is to answer shortly. Data is not necessarily something that we sell or provide.
And but I understand that it's related to personal data. For example, if I want to build an application that analyzes my own expenses and provides me with the suggestion to do something. But what if you are talking about anonymized and aggregated data? For example, if I want to predict industry dynamics, let's say in travel vertical in South Europe, which is not related to specific customer data, just aggregated data. For example, we had more travel expenses on July, and then it dropped down on August, and so on and so forth. That kind of data is still regulated in the same way, or is it possible to get access to it somehow in much
easier terms?
Yeah, the anonymized data is there, and we use it at Mastercard. I know that we use it, for instance, to make predictions as to when, let's say, a flight are going to be needed again based on how certain cardholders are spending their money. So, for instance, there was a project with an American airline company, and they wanted to plan their routes. They wanted to know which cities they should open flights for, and we could predict that the way you are saying. Well, we could predict that based on when cardholders started to use their cards physically in restaurants again. So once people were able to go out and be physically present, be physically present in a restaurant and pay with their cards, we could predict that starting next week or to next month, it could be an interesting flight route. So we use data that way. I don't know what are the means for us to make it available to third parties. I don't think that we do. We use it with our own internal capabilities of analyzing data. We have, as I was mentioning earlier, an advisory data and services component to our conglomerate of companies. Let's say that. But Mihai, who is not here today, Mihai is with data and services, so probably he can tell you more about that. I haven't heard of us making our anonymized data available, other than for companies that we've acquired, or for our internal projects and internal needs. But this is a topic I can take with me if you want, and we can come back with it. And probably if you want, you should have a one-on-one with Mihai once he's better, because he can answer better this question than I can, for sure.
Thank you. I would love to. Everything possible. Maybe no is no. If I know that there is no way to do that, I'm just step aside.
I don't know what the way is, and I wouldn't say no from the first discussion, but I have to deep dive into it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Oleg.
Thanks as well, Oleg. Let's take it up for the next 15 minutes or so until we are done for today, and we can thank again Laura for spending the afternoon with us. If you want to share anything else, Laura has some final thoughts, and if you guys want to ask something, react on something that's already been discussed, or just drop an idea on the table and see how we work this out with the insights that Laura has coming in from Mastercard, tackling your industries as well. I'm looking at Gabi's educational field, or Dimitri's travel industry, or Ioana's investment, wealth management industry. Now's the time to do it before we prepare to wrap up.
I was actually, looking at the list of participants in today's Q&A, because with some of the people we discussed now, and with some other founders I had one-on-ones, others I know, and so on. I was I was more of myself curious, whether for the value propositions that you guys are building, for instance, in the charger network space, or in the gym equipment, is there so how do you see the
money flow?
The money flow, yeah. This is basically, but I imagine that when you guys are building a B2C proposition, you look at it from, from the start of it, like how do you initiate contact with the customer? You have a journey, of course. And then at the end, you need to monetize on it. You guys need to collect money from somewhere. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense, because we're not building NGOs, right? So how do you see this circle being completed? How do you embed into the customer experience that you guys are imagining, building, whatever, the monetization part? So this is more of my question to you.
Yeah.
You thought it was a Q&A for me? No. So
we're here
how do you do that? I'm just curious as to how you are thinking about it.
Can I answer that?
Please, Rokas.
Please.
Yeah. So basically, with the charging stations, it's very simple. It's not like we do a B2C solution. We do B2B2C solution. So the first question that we're basically addressing the businesses who want to install the charging stations. So once this charging station installed in the place, end customers, they find the station where they need. They come to the station, and they probably find the QR code that they scan. And after they scan the QR code, they can download the app. And from the app, there are several ways to pay for the service. So one way is to add the credit card to the app, and then every other transaction will be automatically deducted from the card, so much like Uber experience. And the other way is open banking solutions that we already discussed in this session as well. Yeah, I believe in future there will be some other ways to pay for the service, but for today, we have these two solutions.
Yeah, cool. So you have open banking already embedded into the proposition. You are a payment.
Yeah, we haven't done that yet because all these integrations it costs money, and in our case the industry is still in early stage. So for us, there are more important things to take care than just to do like millions of integrations and not to get enough of cash flowing in, So this is a journey that we'll be making, and on the way we'll definitely do the open banking system as well.
For now, card on file, so saving your card in the app is probably the most convenient part of it.
Exactly, and with open banking, I think the pros are that transaction costs are lower, but the user experience is a bit worse. So because you still have to confirm every time and put some confirmation.
Open banking is not just the good part, is also the security part, which comes with PSD2, like two-factor authentication at every transaction, except for the whitelisting and so on. But whenever you guys, you feel like moving on from, it's important to have some kind of payment which is electronic. My opinion is that for today's state of the industry, card on file should be fine, in the sense to have the card saved there, so it should work. But it all depends on how the markets that you are targeting are used to and what is happening there, because it's different from market to market. So for instance, this is not necessarily a card not present example, it's a card present example. In Romania, it's absurd not to have contactless when you want to pay. So basically, in Romania, 95% of transactions, I hope I'm not giving out the wrong number, but it's like most transactions are contactless. A Romanian card holder is shocked when they go, for instance, to Israel, and that's the only moment when they understand what the magnetic stripe is for. So basically, after, paying your whole life, even with contactless or with your phone or whatever, you go to the US and you realize that somewhere in the middle of the desert, there's an imprinter. So, and you don't have an embossed card. So what are you going to do? You won't even be able to pay. So it all depends on the market stage. But I think that at least in Europe, for this moment when we are having the conversation, card on file should be fine. Good luck with that.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Are the devices that you are using embedded with payment stations like POS, or what are they called? I was just a curiosity. I was just Googling now, because from the consumer's point of view, I would rather, like swap the phone in front of the EV charging station and just pay, not even downloading any app, not even putting the card, just pay like in a grocery store for my water.
It's not so easy.
Thinking from the consumer's view, so I might be totally foolish.
From the supplier side, the story is totally different, because each country has its own regulations for these POS systems. And basically, in my country, you have to register the solution, the EV station, with POS as a separate unit collecting money, and that's like a cashier. You have to do many different. You have to get many different certificates to actually.
So it would stop your growth.
But even let's say in the countries where it is easier to launch this kind of solution, it's already in some markets. These charging point operators, they have different pricings for the customers who just want to use the POS system, and for the ones who have app. And this price for the service can differ like 2-3 times. So if you're a customer who does not have a monthly payment solution, like or you can pay, just like a example, there is Ionity, biggest network in Europe. They give 80 cents per kilowatt hour just for the customer who comes once in a while and pays with let's say with the card. And they give maybe 30 cents for the one who is subscribed to the service and maybe pays like a small amount every month, or not necessarily even pays, because CPO wants to have the data of the user, and he's willing to give a
premium for acquiring.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a difficult story. Market is very young, and it will change and evolve, I think, during the time. Situation today.
But thanks for the insights. It brought up many other things that I was not aware. Hope you were. Cool. So what shall we do for the next 5 minutes? Anything else that you are curious, or you, Laura, are curious about the founders and the industries? It's definitely a place where all of us are learning.
I am still, looking at everyone in the call, and just trying to see, like, what about solo workout? I mean, how is who's making the payment for for the service itself? Is it a B2B model where you are charging the gyms, or is it a bit, I don't know if Rafael can hear us. I was asking. Rafael, I had a question for you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can now hear you.
Yeah. So I had a question for you. Is your business model targeting at monetizing of the gyms or of the consumers?
You know what, it depends, because now we are working on this. We are stepping up to the work with gyms. So we've got two models, because one of them is serving the data, only the data. So it's a B2B model. Because there are existing gyms that have some kind of solution like application. That's the bigger players. So they want from us only SDK and have access to their user data. That's one, closed for all. And the second model is more based like B2C plus B2B2C. So we have a solution for the clubs, and the clubs are installing our solution in there, and together we can go for B2B2C to serve for our clients something more than only a simply app, like a remote service for trainings plus some other ways, like, I don't know, half remote training or something like that.
And who is paying you for the value you are delivering? Is it
for now, the one who is paying is the club, but in the future, we want to create such a content that will be bought by the end user as well. So we want to enlarge the system to get more money from the end user. For now, it's with the budgets we have, it's impossible for us to go to B2B2C. Because the easiest way is find the early adopters from B2B, and they know that they have to pay something for that or to have access to such a data. We will see. For now, we just found few firms that are interested in such a solution. In 2 days, we just have a meet with one small gym chain that wants to have access to the data for the users. They have an application, so they want to have a SDK to connect with and integrate the data with their application. That's for us, that's the easy solution, and we don't have a problem with our B2C clients. They cannot write some stupid things in the internet on us. About us. At the beginning, you know, it's hard. Like we started to develop our application for B2C, so you can sometimes read some stupid stuff about your application from the people who don't understand a lot of when you have an application that
comes with the territory. I mean, I guess you cannot avoid that.
Yeah.
But then,
for example, people don't understand even the electronics. We have a solution that you have to use hardware as well. So when you want to log in the solution, you have to use NFC mode. Yeah, and right away, when you turn off the NFC mode, everything turns on. So your location and so on. And they are, oh, you're stupid, you want to use my location. I don't, and we always writing, no, just read it really step by step, and we don't use your location.
Okay, so maybe it's best to stay in the B2B space, you know, if you manage that better.
No, the electronic parts are so built that when you are putting on NFC, everything is on, even the location.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. So
what can I say?
So first we go B2B, and then we will decide how to catch the. We know how to catch the B2C client, but we have to be there on the market, because without our sensors, we cannot go B2C. So first we have to push the sensors to the market. Two ways. We can do it for free. So we need a lot of money to invest and give for free the sensors to every club. Then right away we have B2C users.
To enhance their experience with their customers, but monetize from the people that are working out. Gotcha. Yeah, the hardship.
Yep. Here. Thank you.
Cool. If you want to add something, now's the moment before we say thank you and goodbye to Laura. There are both Laura and Mihai who couldn't attend. Sorry for that. You will meet them. They have at least one more meeting slot. If that will be a good moment to take a one-on-one meeting, that's one way, or just simply do some intros in case we won't catch everyone to that meeting slot. You want to add something, Dimitri? Share your hurdle with the travel space.
Well, what I was thinking, like, we really need to find a solution to automate things. My industry, give me a second. My industry is B2B2C. The B2C model, Visas and Mastercard and everything, they work. But then what we have, it is like, imagine like 10 travel agents need to send like 20K, like 25 shipments to the tour operator. Then he needs to do 3-4 payments to the local agent, and he needs to split all this 20K to other 30 more payments. So it is 20K traveling 4 times, and it's a lot of payments. And what we have as a bigger issue, me as a tour operator, I have money coming from Cyprus, and I need to send the money to Italy. So they need 2 days to arrive to me, and 2 days from my part to go to Italy, to the Italian part, without weekends.
Yes, Dimitri, that is if you use SWIFT, but if you use modern the technology for payment, like Mastercard Send, that is 30 seconds for transfers. We can, if you want, and this is a discussion which is like very into the technology of payments, and it's very specific. But if you want, we can have a separate discussion, and I can give you some resources, because there are all kinds of solutions. First, for tour operators, we already have integrations done globally for the smart data platform I was telling you earlier. We currently collect data from, I don't know, the likes of Sabre or other, I don't know, Sabre. I'm not very familiar, you know, with all the names in the industry, but we already have certain integrations done on the data transfer level with relevant players in the travel industry. But on top of that, there is the payments layer, and what you are referencing now is only the SWIFT payments. So making a payment in a currency, traveling from one country to another using the messaging channel, and you know, transferring money from country to country, that is outside of the Mastercard payment scheme. So it's really not operated by us. But just to respond to this type of needs, we have solutions, but probably they are not mainstream. But solutions such as money send, which means transferring money from one endpoint to another endpoint using our network without the physical presence of a POS. Oh my God, what is happening there, Alexandru? Why are you doing this to us, disturbing the conversation?
We're getting close to the end of it, and we'll need to spend a bit of time before.
Yeah. But just
we jump into the one-on-ones that we have today, because there's a slot for that as well. Taking a look at you.
Oh my God. just to wrap it up with Dimitri, there is technology, and there is, I see Alina, she left the call, but Salarium, for instance, they are using the money and technology to disperse payments. So basically we can talk about that, and I can maybe put you in contact with some originating institutions in the country you are operating in to help you with this, because it's a pity not to use it. It's very powerful.
We would love that, and we tried and we found someone. Stripe, I think it was name was one very good, but it's not in Croatian based, and it is not working in Croatia. The other one,
if you guys are in Croatia, I can put you in contact with my peer in Mastercard Croatia, and they can help you with something more specific.
The other one we found was Mango Pay, but they make it so hard for someone to apply that it was like,
yeah, I'm sure we can find someone who is
lovely.
Yeah.
If you have, it's really something that we're really, really interested in and we're ready to do, you know?
Cool.
Okay. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you for today. I think we're like out of time.
Thanks a lot for sharing this with us and spending the time with actually discussing with the founders. I can do further intros if something got away from the last minute or so. Gonna spend some time before we jump into the one-on-one meetings with some of you and some other founders as well that will start soon, and you'll get a chance to meet probably Laura and Mihai individually or both of them in one-on-one meetings that they'll have.
Yeah.
Thanks for breaking the ice for this first session, as you called it, for you.
Yeah. Thank you everyone in the call. It was a pleasure.
Thanks.
Keep in touch.
We'll catch up.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Say bye.
Bye.
Say bye.